Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible, no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello, crypto friends. So we're going to be looking at the big three here. A big day for the Litecoin bulls, but overall, a lot of bullish action everywhere and a lot of profit to be had. And it reminded us of the good old days of summer when we had big time bull breakouts, significant follow through, and profit was easy. So these times are not gone forever. They are just taking a break and now they're back. So where we stand from here, we'll go over the daily time frame. We're going to look at the weekly charts as well. And you may remember from the past few videos, if you watch every day, where I've said a few times now that Litecoin on the daily time frame will break the lower high pattern first because it is a step ahead of everybody else in its formation because it had a higher low. And we'll look at that comparison, but there was a very distinct difference on the daily charts between all three of these names. And the fact that Litecoin had that setup and the fact that it is thinly traded, meaning a little bit of dollar volume goes a lot further to move the price, that, in my opinion, is the reason that the setup was there and that we got that significant follow through. Just think about it. Litecoin in the last 12 hours or 16 hours ran 30, 35, 40%. The dollar volume that it would take to run Bitcoin or Ethereum at this price to those kinds of gains would be immensely huge. And I say that because there are more players. It's a higher market cap. There's more liquidity, and that means it doesn't move as easily. So that is an important distinction to make. As far as, the gains that we saw in blue sky breakout mode in 2017, I think those days for Bitcoin and Ethereum are mostly behind us. That doesn't mean, Ethereum can't run 20% over a day or two, but it just means in terms of, these moves where we were seeing insane amounts of gains, I do not think we're going to see that same kind of action unless there's news behind it, unless Amazon comes out or an ETF or something along those lines. So let's get into the analysis point. And I just want to say thanks to everybody that reached out to Doug Polk. We'll see if he wants to talk. So looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, bullish reversal candlestick, it is being confirmed. With a couple days left in the week, the bulls want to close here or better to see this strong follow through. The last thing the bulls want to see is an upper wick and a close in the middle of the candlestick, which would show profit taking. So this is solid follow through. And again, just looking at this weekly chart overall and forgetting everything about cryptocurrency, if you show me this and tell me this is a stock chart, I would say that the bulls, more likely than not, are going to see a bounce, and they're going to see a solid bounce. And I would say that the bulls are going to make their way. And again, this is not me saying Bitcoin's going to do this, because I'm going to look at Bitcoin one day at a time, as we always do. But just if this is a general pattern, what would I expect a general market to do here? I would say a bounce up to 14,000 to establish a lower high on this weekly time frame, and then a pullback and a higher low, and look for a tightening equilibrium pattern to form over the next few months. So that could take shape in many different ways. I don't think it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get up to those levels. But the daily chart right now is in favor of the bulls, and we finally got our higher high. So I drew this line here because at this point, I said in one of my recent videos, this is a potential bear flag. And just because we have a lot of bull volume and we've seen a nice solid bounce from the lows at this point, back when the bounce was just getting started, doesn't mean that we have to, or we can, shift our bias and say, okay, now the bulls are in control, because this was a bear flag. In my opinion, the bear flag was negated when we hit the higher low and higher high, because it no longer fits in a parallel channel, and it's extended now to a degree that no longer matches the bear flag, in my opinion, in terms of the definition of that pattern. So checking in on the key lines that we're watching now, we got our support at the low of the dump. We've got our higher low being established at 7,851. And right now the bulls are at the high of this bounce. So depending on what your exchange you're on, the volume looks a little bit different. And let's compare the Bitcoin Bitfinex volume chart. So it is a slight uptick in volume. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing special, but it is a little bit bigger and a little bit more comforting for the bulls on Coinbase. And you can see solid increase in bull volume, even more volume than 2 days ago. And this is the highest bull volume on Coinbase right now in terms of And sometimes I definitely want to note that sometimes the volume between TradingView and GDAX is not in sync. There are discrepancies between them, and that's just having to do with the API and how the data is received from the exchange. But so we'll see if this candlestick does change. It does seem a bit odd that there is this significant of volume, although there was one big 4-hour candlestick, so we'll have to see. But as of right now, the volume is notable as the bottom line. So we have our higher low and higher high bull move. And I'm looking at the next resistance level here, the high of the previous bounce attempt. That was 9,499. So that's the next resistance level. And of course, 10,000 psychological will come after that. And we'll know the bulls are really back in control on the daily time frame when we have regained these exponential moving averages as support. We've done a good job of getting over the 12 period. We haven't been able to do that on previous bounces. Now it's up to the 26 period. Once these levels are comfortably as support and give us a bull cross, that will be notable. That will be almost like a slower, more significant MACD cross. Obviously, we already got the bullish MACD cross, but that will show more of a trend change if we do get that bull cross. And just looking back to the previous bull run, we held these moving averages the majority of the time, and they certainly didn't cross bearish until our top was in. So that's where we stand. I am still bullish. The 4-hour time frame at this point will need some healthy consolidation. We have some healthy consolidation currently underway, but even if this chart pulls back to 8,800, that's still a very bullish higher low. Anything above 8,393 is a higher low on this 4-hour time frame. So we have a lot of space that we can pull back and still remain in a bullish trend. So the hourly chart right now is seeing healthy consolidation and still a couple higher lows here, 9,145 and 9,183. I was stopped out of half of my position. I just was walking up a stop loss on the 15-minute time frame, wanting to lock it in when the 15-minute higher lows were lost. So I exited in the upper 9,100s, and I will re-enter a position if I see bull volume and a clear bull break, but with my re-entry, it will only be a short-term time frame. So because this consolidation hasn't really taken place on the 4-hour in quite some time, and you could make the argument that a potential hourly bull flag is forming, but it's the pattern setting up here is I'm going to keep half of my position and going to be watching for continuation. And if we do get that continuation, if I re-enter with the half a position that I already took profit on, I will make sure to lock that in sooner rather than later, because this 4-hour chart is already a bit extended and the RSI will be approaching 70 if we do see that higher high and continuation. And of course, the hourly RSI will very quickly be back above 70. So that's just where I stand and what I'm going to be doing. Looks like we have some inside bars here forming on the hourly time frame to be watching. Those are about to break shortly, and that will let us know, are we going to see continued bullish action overnight again, talking about East Coast time, or are we going to see healthy consolidation? So pretty much two ideal scenarios, unless FUD news hits. We've got healthy consolidation coming or bullish continuation coming, which is a very comfortable place to be in if you are a bull. I also traded Litecoin yesterday. It was a nice surprise to have my phone start blowing up in terms of the alerts. And ChartGuys Jason just put an alert video out in terms of, just a look back and what alerts went off when for this bull break on Litecoin and how to utilize that. So my alert system was going off and sending price shear for me in the 160s on Litecoin. And I was a little bit late to the move in the sense that I was off my computer. I was ready for bed and looking forward to getting some sleep. That didn't happen. And I'll go over the shorter term details of what I did for Litecoin, but I had to be a lot more agile because I wasn't comfortably, setting up, waiting for a position and just acting on it. I was a little bit late to the game. So we have a bullish reversal doji getting confirmed on the weekly time frame. The most notable thing is the volume. Litecoin, because of this major breakout, is going to be seeing increasing bull volume and the ideal follow-through kind of volume that the bulls want to see from this reversal candlestick. So the other names don't have that in terms of increasing bull volume. We have it on Litecoin, and again, it was the daily setup of giving us the low, high of the bounce, higher low, lower high, inside bar, bull break. Still not breaking resistance, though. That was the first signal, a break of 151. But we did pull back all the way down to 142. So it was still lower highs and higher lows. And inside bar bull break was a very clear signal. And Jason points out in the video, a 4-hour inside bar broke bullish, a daily inside bar broke bullish, and then all the abnormal volume and price shear alerts were going off as well. So inside bar bull break was 162 on the daily. And then we broke resistance of 169.49, and we broke the high of the bounce, 175, and we exploded to the upside. So this is the kind of move where you don't want to experience FOMO and rush in and try and, over trade here. But that being said, if you are comfortable trading this space and, you're up a considerable amount and you have comfortable profit to play with, you can be more aggressive. So I went into this play and I was buying in areas that I normally would not be buying. And that's just because I saw the volume. I mean, look at this 15-minute chart. And when that volume comes up, I was convinced it was news. And I know, you could say it is the light pay news, but it was no new news. When you see this kind of volume pour in, you think something just hit the news wire. And granted, there's bullish sentiment built up from these other events, but in my opinion, that's not the kind of news that you just drop everything and rush to buy into Litecoin to act on. But that's clearly what happened. And keep in mind that whales can run Litecoin way easier than they can run Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point. It is in the top tier of attention grabbers for cryptocurrency at this point. And so there's a lot of traders that'll jump in on a move if you start a move. But, you take a few $1 million and run the price up on Litecoin and break a key resistance, and the bots are going to follow, and traders like myself are going to follow. And then you get this catalyst of an event where it's almost like a chain reaction. So I was making quick flips on Litecoin that I would not normally make. And it was just conditions of the market being saying no, also knowing that the daily chart was getting a clear bull break and that traders were all acting on a very clear signal. That combined with my belief that there's got to be some news behind this made me trade, again, higher RSI levels than I normally would. So what I was doing is entering on a key resistance break. Let's just take 170 psychological as an example, made a market order of 170 psychological. And what I will do is I was going aggressive, so I was going all in positions. And this isn't the kind of thing that I'm going to post about, because anybody trying to follow me with the speed that I do it is setting themselves up for trouble. So as soon as I enter my order, I literally start filling out my sell orders. And as soon as I'm profitable in the trade, I start scaling out. And you might say, now, why would you do that? The trade is just getting going. Well, at that point, the trade was already overextended, and I knew that, so I wanted to be quick and nimble. But the other factor that I have is a full position. And if I want to exit a full position on Litecoin and I have to do it at a market order, I'm going to drop the price down significantly. I'm going to get a lot of slippage, and I'm going to pay the fees that I don't want to pay. So as I start scaling out 20% of my position right after I buy in, I initially lock in profit. And every time I scale out and I lock in profit, that lowers my cost basis. So it's essentially like my break-even point is as if I bought in at a lower price. So that's what I was doing, all in, quick flip. If I buy all in at 170 and the bull momentum of that break pushes it up into the 171s, then I start selling 171.45, 171.90, and there goes 40% of my position right there. And now I'm very comfortable. Whereas if you give me a full position and the overextended nature of this move, I'm not comfortable. As soon as I lock in that profit, it completely changes where I stand on the trade. So another thing is, if you don't want to experience FOMO, when you have a breakout like this and you're watching it on the 15-minute and the 5-minute time frame and you see overextended conditions, you know that the first pullback that you're going to see is going to have a significant drop and a significant bounce. Now, normally, I'm referring to right here, normally you don't see a higher high right away. That showed a lot of strength, the fact that we did that. But normally you see an equilibrium pattern play out. So as soon as we started seeing consolidation, I start scaling in my orders. I say, okay, our temporary top is 174. And then I just look visually, like, where are we going to pull back to that is going to be significant? So I started scaling my orders in. I had an order for, let's see, I broke up my positions into about 20% again. So 20% at 170.15, another 20% at 169.15, 168.15, and then I had a pile of cash just in case things got really ugly. So I ended up scaling in 60% of a position with an average of 168.15, and then sold on the way back up in the low 170s. And that was just, again, to be very protective and lock in that profit. So at the end of the night, I could have sat there and said, man, if I was only in for that move and held the whole time, I would have made X amount of dollars. When in reality, the situation is, man, I was about to go to bed and I'm about to go to bed with a lot more money than I thought I was going to. And I capitalized on those trades and I'm back to, all cash and feeling safe. And actually, at that point, I had locked in the profit and was done trading Litecoin. I was flipping it multiple times. I probably flipped it 5 times, as every time we got a new high, I would do the same move that I just described. And then overnight, I said, all right, we've already run here on Litecoin. The bull break on Litecoin increases the percentage chance that we're going to see Bitcoin and Ethereum follow on the daily charts with their bull breaks. That's just because it's going to affect market sentiment. People are going to have profits to play around with, and it's just an overall outlook that's bullish. So I then saw the setup on Bitcoin, and at this point, I'm wondering what time it was, but it was about, midnight or so, a little around midnight. And I just said to myself, all right, we're close enough to a bull break on this 15-minute time frame on Bitcoin. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. Let me find ourselves. So close enough to a point where I was looking at just entering and saying, all right, let's see, if these bulls get followed through, putting myself in the position to benefit from bullish follow through. So I entered just market order all in Bitcoin, and I set my stop loss. I'm trying to find the exact point where I did that, and I believe it was right here. And that's where it was. So as soon as we had this little cup and handle pattern, the 15-minute time frame with our resistance, our consolidation, our lower high, unable to break resistance, the right side is lower than the left, handle of consolidation, and then bull breakout. This is when I market ordered all in. And I just said, all right, that's that, and I'm going to give myself the opportunity to benefit. And if I lose, I'll give back maybe about 25% of the profit I just made on Litecoin. And I set my stop loss below the low of this handle. So the risk to reward wasn't too big. I was risking, by the time I entered, it was about $100, $150 risk in terms of the dollar drop on Bitcoin that would stop me out. So I put my stop loss just below this level, and I thought best case scenario, we see that follow through. And that's of course where we stand today. And we're now getting, oh great, I missed my entry. Thanks guys. So there's our bull break on Bitcoin and our follow through, but able to still benefit because I entered and let it ride. Again, all based on Litecoin and what it was doing. So here we are with Bitcoin heading up to 9,499. Let's see where Litecoin stands in terms of its bull break. 15-minute time frame, trying to see continuation. And now let's get to Ethereum. Long video here. So Ethereum on the weekly time frame, look at the volume. That is pitiful volume. So that is very notably weak. And Ethereum has been the weakest of the three on this entire move. Litecoin obviously first, Bitcoin in the middle, and Ethereum is the weakest. And Ethereum took the longest to break to a daily higher high, but it finally did do it. So our support on the daily time frame, and what I love about, why I like swing positions at this point, now that we have a clear higher high, is because we have these clear levels to use as stop losses. If the daily chart high or low pattern on any of these names breaks, it's a clear red flag to any of the bounce attempt. So when we were at the bottom of this bounce and following through, we didn't really have any clear levels to be using except the 4-hour time frame, and I was expecting the 4-hour bullish higher low pattern to break so we could get the daily higher low. So it's much more difficult to establish a longer term clear support level where you can say, okay, if this level breaks, things are not going according to plan for the bulls and the trend is changing back to the bears. Now we have these clear levels on the daily time frame. So the next Ethereum resistance is 924.70, the high, and then 998 right under 1,000 psychological, which was the high of the last day that bounced. Bullmac decross is trying to follow through. Again, it's a laggard. It's late. We're seeing a much more significant cross on Litecoin and Bitcoin already following through. And checking in now on Litecoin, or no, I already did that. Checking in now. I'm distracted by watching how much Bitcoin's running while I'm doing this. So the 4-hour time frame on Ethereum is an inside bar, and we'll see if that's going to form. And again, just checking back in on Bitcoin with this bull break, no inside bar. And look at the hourly inside bars. How about this alert? So inside bar, hourly, bull trigger, 9,308 is when that alert just went out. And here we are already up over $100 almost instantly. So at this point, again, you just can set your stop loss to break even. If you entered with a market order on this inside bar bull break, you could either set your stop below the higher low, or if you want to be truly protective and have zero risk, you set your stop loss at break even. So back to Ethereum. Hourly time frame, higher lows still well intact. Follow through for the bulls. Key resistance, the high of the move, 924.70. Hourly key support is going to be here at 895.50. So that's where we stand. Again, Ethereum's a little bit ahead, a little bit behind, and right now Bitcoin is one of the stronger names because Litecoin has certainly used up a lot of its buying power over yesterday. But the bottom line is the bulls are back. It's giving a lot of confidence. Clearly, a ton of people were experiencing FOMO in Litecoin, and I was as well. I was just doing it in a controlled manner where I could stay in control of things and had clear exits on every single entry I was making. But there's FOMO going on. The bulls are back in town. There's bull volume coming in. We've got a daily higher low and higher high. And this shifts sentiment for where we stand right now. And the question is, how long can the bulls keep up higher lows and higher highs on the daily? And we're going to be heading into this weekend with bullish momentum, in my opinion. Again, the two scenarios are healthy consolidation or continuation. And that's what we're going to be looking for overnight tonight. And right now we're still in continuation mode. So I appreciate you tuning in. Continue to always do good things. Appreciate the likes and the shares and the Twitters and the Stocktwits and all the good stuff. And hopefully we'll get that interview with Doug going. And we got another fun thing coming up. Excited to share with you guys a little bit of a poke at the cryptocurrency community, but certainly something that's going to be fun. And I think it'll be a great little gift to give to crypto friends. I have some friends working on a project, but I'll get to that later. It will be incorporated in the videos in the future. And have a great forever. Happy Valentine's Day. Don't go buy a bunch of stuff and deal with this or fall victim to the corporate trap of sucking your money. Treat one day every month as Valentine's Day to yourself, and then do something special and surprise the person and have it be, just a regular old day, but you're doing all these special things. Do that once a month, and don't let corporate America tell you when to do it. That's my political opinion for the end of the day. See you tomorrow.